unwilling to me to confirm, but league sources tell me that the San Antonio Spurs are De'Aaron Fox's
I'm the source now. Breaking news. Here's the breaking news. The Phoenix Suns are trading two-time NBA Finals MVP Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets for Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, the number 10 pick in the 2025 draft, and 5 second-round picks. Sources tell slightly biased. We've done it, folks. The trade of the millennium has happened. Finally, Kevin Durant's been traded. Let's talk about it. Time for a ramble, a yap sesh. Guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel for just so many rambles and so many yaps. If you're watching this right now, this Yap Fest, leave a comment. I want you to leave a comment, and I want you to say this. Slightly, we love you. Slightly, we love you. And exactly in that way, okay? Let's get into this trade. So, first and foremost, just have to stay off the rip. I love it for Houston so much. 10 out of 10 trade for the Houston Rockets. I can't believe there's anybody, and I've had friends text me this, like anybody who thinks this is anything other than a remarkable trade for Houston. Their struggles as a team have been very well documented. We know what their issue was. We know their issue was shot creation. We know their issue was offense, tough bucket getting, and generating anything resembling a good look late in games. Look, let's just have this conversation right away. Do the Houston Rockets win their series against the Golden State Warriors if Kevin Durant is a member of the Houston Rockets? The answer to that question is yes. They win the series, right? They just needed somebody late in those games who could get them over the finish line, and they just don't have it. There's not somebody on their roster who's there yet, and maybe somebody could get there. Maybe Jalen Green could have developed into that. Maybe something would have just flipped on for Jalen Green. Maybe Şengün can get there. The reality is probably not. Probably not. And if you want to win in the NBA, if you want to go far, look at the teams that are in the championship games right now. Shout out to Patrick Dumont. The teams that are in the championship games currently. Game 7 is about to start in the next 6 hours. Think about the teams that have won. You need clutch, a bucket getting. You need guys who can generate offense for themselves. You need guys possession winding down. Somebody pull us out the mud. And that is what Kevin Durant provides for this Rockets team. And they didn't give up shit. Okay? Jalen Green was done. Like Jalen Green was, I think this was a big year for Jalen Green. And it's funny because I did predict the Rockets would have a good season this year. I was right, I did predict that Jalen Green would have a good season, or the Rockets have a good season, but the main reason I predicted that was I thought Jalen Green, I fell for it. I fell for the March Jalen Green extravaganza a year ago and believed that would carry over into this year, that Jalen Green would, have a breakout season and that would propel the Rockets forward. That obviously wasn't the case. Not that he was terrible, but it was clear and obvious in the playoffs. I mean, he wasn't in closing lineups at times for them, right? So this is a no-brainer trade. The Rockets last year, I'm looking it up right now, they were 22nd in half-court offense. That's just not going to cut it. When the game slows down, in a playoff setting, it's cool being this uber physical team. When your best offense is bad offense, what do I mean by that? The Rockets' best offense towards the end of the season, damn, I sounded so country right there. Their best offense towards the end of the season last year was bad offense. It was missing shots. It was offensive rebounds and creating offense off of those offensive rebounds. That's not sustainable. That is not going into the playoffs. It's not like, all right, guys, just throw it up there. Steven Adams, best of luck, right? That's not good. And what were their numbers in that series against the Warriors? 92 offensive rating in the half court. I mean, it's not good enough to win, right? It's just not good enough to win games. Kevin Durant does change that equation for you quite a bit. And on top of that, what I like for them is, they needed to go, ideally, if Devin Booker were available, that's perfect for them. But he's got size that can they could still be this jumbo extra big team. He is older, but still, when KD locks in defensively, it's not the worst. It's still pretty solid. And he gives him somebody who can play huffball, even though his willingness to do that at times with the Suns was weird, but the Suns were a fucking disaster. I think his buy-in level will be better. I like it. Again, Jalen Green was already kind of on the outs. Dillon Brooks, I think Dillon Brooks was important for them. Kind of looked like he lost a step maybe a little bit defensively at times this year, but they've got young guys who are just standing by to get in there. Tari Eason ready to go. You've got Cam Whitmore, who was a top 5 draft talent a couple years ago, and the 10th overall pick, which is fine because if you're Houston, like, we drafted 3rd overall last year, and that guy can't even get in the rotation for us, and Reed Shepard. Like, we drafted a guy in Cam Whitmore a couple years ago who was supposed to be a top 5 pick before he fell in the draft, and he can't even get in the rotation for us. Like, the 10th overall pick was never going to be a player who played significant minutes for this Rockets team this year unless they were destroyed by injuries, knock on wood. So this was a no-brainer. They did a great job. Raphael Stone has done fantastic. And this team, I had people in my chat who were like, who cares? This isn't a league-altering trade. Like, why does everyone think this is a league-altering trade? No, I mean, this doesn't make the Rockets, like, unbeatable. I wouldn't say, like, the Rockets are winning the West now. I wouldn't say that. But they were just the 2 seed. And they just got significantly better. Like, they just added a top 10-ish player to their team for a guy who was out the rotation, a role guy, and a 10th overall pick. And it fits exactly what they need. So this is a slam dunk, no pun intended, for Houston. On Phoenix, the Phoenix side of things, this is crazy. Kevin Durant was on stage at Fanatics Fest. I saw somebody tweet out, Coops on Twitter tweeted out, how does Fanatics have all this money still to bring in all these super big time celebrities for their events and for that, Mike Rubin, was that his name? Michael Rubin, Sierra Rubin, Michael Rubin, for their big parties. It's because if you've ever had a Fanatics item, whether that's a hat, a shirt, a jersey, they cost 2 cents to make. They're pieces of shit, right? So, when it costs 2 cents to make the product, you have a lot of money left over. And that's what it is. They can't all make them like this, folks. They can't all make them like this. Trust me. Believe me. They try. So anyways, Kevin Durant was on stage.
You just got traded!
Wait, the funniest part here, the funniest part about this, this is actually crazy. I 100% think he knew, obviously. Now, the funniest part about this is it's coming up. It's coming up. What the? The funniest part about this is KD just got traded to the Rockets. And then Taylor Rooks immediately goes.
A lot going on right now. I'm going to ask you 2 more questions to let you sort out what's happening. All right, we're going to close this out with 2 more. Tell me the song you always have to play on game day.
Kevin Durant, you just got traded to the Houston Rockets in front of a crowd full of people. Everyone's going crazy. What's your go-to pregame song? What's your go-to pregame song? Hilarious. This is actually crazy that he gets traded in the middle of this. He had to have known, right? He had to have known, for sure. From Phoenix's side, because slam dunk, huge, massive win for Houston. I mean, to not give up any future Suns picks here is just incredible. I mean, they did such a good job. Unbelievable job by them. I love it. Phoenix's side. It was clear and obvious that they were not going to get a big return here. The reporting on that, it's been consistent forever. I told you guys that the trade deadline, the KD return's not going to be very good. It's part of the reason why I said at the time when I thought the Mavericks would be aggressive in a KD pursuit. I was like, I promise you guys, the Mavericks package, if they wanted to do it, would be the best one. It would be the best pick, the best possible one for the Suns would be the Mavs package. And I stand by that. It's not clocking you that I'm standing on business. That's true. It would have been 100% better than this. It was clear and obvious they were never going to get a good return. I think I said a few days ago, if the Suns offer the 10th overall pick, you just have to take it. That's the best thing you're going to get. That is by far the best asset that you could realistically get in a trade like this. Jabari Smith was kind of this, maybe they could get Jabari Smith, which would have been nice, but obviously that was off the table. The return is probably a C. All things considered, maybe you can make the argument that it's higher than that, but all things considered, I think this is a C-ish return. And they had no leverage whatsoever here. None. In fact, they had so little leverage that Shams reported that this came down between the Rockets and the Heat. Negotiations today came down to the Rockets and the Heat. Folks, look at what the fucking Miami Heat were offering. Look at what the Miami Heat were offering. Shams, Heat wouldn't include Jaime Jaquez, Nikola Jovic, Haywood Highsmith, the 20th overall pick, or other draft assets. They wouldn't include Jaime Jaquez, Nikola Jovic, Haywood Highsmith, or the 20th overall pick. Oh, man. What the fuck was this trade offer? Wiggins and Duncan Robinson? Wiggins and Duncan Robinson. And the Heat were like, that's all I got. Wiggins and Duncan Robinson, a final offer. That was the final. This was the other finalist. Oh my God! Which I will say, and I mentioned this when I was talking about the Heat a couple days ago. I'm happy the Heat didn't do this. They have no business doing something like this. None at all. They should be well on their way to a teardown. Full stop. They should be well on their way to a complete and total teardown overhaul of their roster. It does sound like there's reports that they have a DeMar DeRozan trade lined up if this were to fall through. Which I gotta say, what the fuck are you thinking, DeMar? Really? Eesh. John Gambo, this guy knows his stuff about the Suns. He does have a picture of, this is from an account that you blocked. Oh, that's good. Why did I block this? The Miami Heat are unlikely to get Kevin Durant. One more, Heat fans. You don't want the truth because deep down in places you don't talk about at parties, you want me on X. You need me on X. I would rather you just said thank you and went our way. Either way, I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to. What? What's going on? All right, Gambo is feeling himself. Okay. Gambo reported that the Suns do not plan to trade Jalen Green. He's expected to play alongside Devin Booker in the backcourt. I'll keep going. I had this tweet pulled up. Where was it? This is the Suns depth chart currently. Devin Booker, Dylan Brooks, Bradley Beal, Jalen Green, Grayson Allen. And they got Bol running point. Is Bol still on the Is Bol still on the team? This is a hilarious team. This is a hilarious turn of events. John Gambo has a picture of Donald Trump behind him, by the way, whenever he's doing just a frame photo, unless I'm missing it. A frame photo of Donald Trump behind him when he does interviews. Our big, beautiful Gambo. We love him. We call him Gambo. Folks, the pathetic Suns. We call them the pathetic Suns. They're so pathetic. Destructive Matt Ishbia is what I call him. Destructive little Matt. Everything he touches, he destroys. They traded for Kevin Durant 2-3 years ago. They gave it all away. It's one of the worst deals in the history of deals. They gave it all away for Kevin Durant. And this is what they get in return. I heard Demon Pat Riley. I call him Demon Pat. There's something so demonic and evil about Pat Riley. There's something so evil about him. They wouldn't even trade Haywood Highsmith. Destructive Matt Ishbia is what I call him, folks. He's such an idiot. He is such an idiot. They've done a fucking terrible job. The Suns are a joke, and they've completely and totally been on the path towards destruction. I mean, think about it. Like, everyone makes fun of the Mavs now, rightfully so. Everyone makes fun of the Bulls, rightfully so. This has been one of the most destructive 2 to 3 year stretches for a team I can ever remember, straight up. And people wanted to give Matt Ishbia credit. The KD trade, the original trade, in hindsight, I can forgive. You made an aggressive push. KD's still around the peak of his powers. Like, you made an aggressive push, and I can forgive that. Okay? Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Juan Pablo Valle, remember him? Jay Crowder. And 1, 2, 3, 4 first-round picks completely unprotected in a pick swap. You really went all in. And yeah, now it sucks because you look back at this offer and you got in return for this nothing except what? 1 playoff series win, I believe. And that was against a Clippers team, which Kawhi Leonard was out for the entire series. Actually, I think Kawhi played the first 2 games. Am I right? Then he tore his ACL or some shit. So you had 1 playoff series win. You had a season where you didn't even make the play-in tournament, right? And all you got in return for that, in the end, was Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, and the 10th overall pick in this year's draft. And then, of course, this one kind of hurts a little bit more because the Nets flipped Mikal Bridges for 5 first-round picks. So I can still defend the KD trade. It sucks. What's indefensible and where Destructive Matt got his nickname was the Bradley Beal trade. It was one of the worst fucking trades of the last 10 years. Just a horrible, indefensible trade. Made no sense at the time. Was redundant at the time. It was kind of clear and obvious if you watched any Wizards basketball that Beal was just kind of like there and was putting up stats on a bad team. Not to say that he was bad, but it was just like, you know, it was kind of difficult to imagine his play style translating to what the Suns specifically needed at the time, which remember they traded Chris Paul in that trade. They needed a point guard. So their idea was we're going to have point Beal. That was it. It was going to be point guard Bradley Beal. It was a fucking disaster immediately. He can't stay on the floor. He has one of the worst contracts, if not the worst contract in the league. He's on a no-trade clause. And you gave up 5 swaps for that. So you don't have any control of your picks at all until 2032. Because they traded their 2031 first to get back 3 picks, 3 dog shit picks from the Jazz, 3 horrible picks, like heavily protected picks, pick swaps. They got all of those picks in return to dump Yusuf Nurkic's shit-ass contract. This team sucks, man. Matt Ishbia is fucking terrible. He's horrible. He's horrible. He's one of the worst owners in the league. I don't care that he has $2 hot dogs. I don't care. I don't care that you can watch Suns games for free online. Cool. That's great. That is. That's actually fantastic, right? $2 hot dogs. Guess what? You want to know how many people are going to be eating the $2 hot dogs next year? I don't know, 6,000, 7,000 people a night because the team's going to be fucking terrible. How many people are going to be eating $2 hot dogs in 2028 when you've traded Devin Booker and you still don't have control of your picks for the next 4 years? And your team is Jalen Green and Bol Bol's still there. Jalen Green and Bol Bol. That's going to be your team. How many $2 hot dogs are getting bought then? They're going to have to up the hot dog prices at that point just to make up for the lost ticket sales. Horrible. He's done a terrible job. Destructive Matt. And what's even worse, if I'm a Suns fan, I'm seriously considering jumping ship. And let me tell you why. Not that I'm like super, Kevin Durant, man. Like, Kevin Durant, like, he was so important to our franchise. Not because of any of that. But it's because Destructive Matt, little Destructive Matt, has taken more control of the team. And he wants me to care about $2 hot dogs? Unbelievable. Actually, unbelievable. There's a reason we call him Destructive Matt. Anyways, I think all things considered, this is one of the best returns you could have gotten at this point in time for Kevin Durant. And I am curious. They say they want to keep Bradley. They don't want to keep Bradley Beal. They say they want to keep Jalen Green. I'll believe them on that, I guess. Look, there's some upsides there with Jalen Green. You can't teach the things that Jalen Green has. You can't teach that quick twitch athleticism. You can't teach that skill. You can't teach that when he's on, that sort of superstar tenacity that he does have. So you could talk yourself into it. Historically speaking, though, guards who are as inefficient as he has been through the first 3 or 4 years of his career, those guys don't, blossom into much. That's just the truth. Those guys, you play the waiting game for those guys forever. Yes, and he did recently say that all 26 other teams would swap places with the Suns. 0 teams would swap places with the Suns. 0. Seriously, I stand by that. I don't think the Hornets would switch places with them. I don't think the Wizards would switch places with them. Why the Wizards? The Wizards are in a good spot. No team would. I think they're the worst possible destination right now. They're the worst. Not even the Mavericks would. Obviously, after eating Cooper Flag. Unbelievable. Destructive Matt. Little Destructive Matt Ishbia. Look at this. This is hilarious from the Dunk Central. Devin Booker, Jalen Green, Bradley Beal. Very interesting. Very interesting. It's going to be very interesting for fans sitting courtside. They might have to hand out helmets. They might have to hand out Army-grade helmets, military-grade helmets to fans sitting courtside because it might get dangerous. It might get dangerous. So a fantastic trade. What's next for some of these other teams? Miami, again, I'm happy. They didn't need to make a KD trade. I said that if it was like Wiggins and Duncan Robinson in the 20th overall pick for KD, yeah, fine, whatever. That's next to nothing. Just do that, right? But realistically, they didn't need to go that route. I really hope they don't do a DeMar trade or something like that. Like, that is just so stupid. They need to rebuild so badly. San Antonio, because there was like a week or two ago, and Gambo was saying this. Beautiful Gambo. Must have been wrong. Gambo was saying a couple weeks ago that it was like the Suns or the Spurs were like going to get Kevin Durant. And I love that for them. But things have been suspiciously quiet with San Antonio. They feel like a team that's almost certainly going to make a move, and it's been suspiciously quiet on their front. And I'm kind of theorizing in my brain a Jaylen Brown scenario. Maybe I'm looking way too deep into it. But we've been told all the last couple of weeks, we've been told this is going to be a crazy offseason, crazy offseason, crazy offseason, crazy offseason. That would be a crazy offseason, would it not? That would be a crazy offseason. Spurs probably stand pat, if I had to guess. And some of these other teams, like Minnesota, I don't know what their route is. They haven't been mentioned in these talks in quite some time. Man, KD on the Rockets. I think it's a big one. I think that helps them out tremendously. And I think, would I pick them to win the West next year? No, but they got a lot better, and they were just a 2 seed. And they didn't cut into their rotation, really. I mean, they did. But you're basically essentially replacing Jalen Green with Kevin Durant, and then you're just kind of scaling up some of these other guys. Like Easton's going to have more responsibility now. Cam Whitmore will probably be in their rotation now. They still need some guard help, but I'm assuming Reed Shepherd is going to have to play more in year 2. That was a 3rd overall pick. Some people thought he was the best guy in that class. So Houston knocked this out the fucking park, man. I love this Heat. Spurs, the Heat win trade. Jaime Jaquez, Jovic, Haywood Highsmith, 20th overall pick. Oh, we love it. We love it. What does this mean for Bradley Beal? Anything? Oh, man. Man.